Hello everyone, watch this review here with a look at Chemo, the Collected Connect from DC Universe Classics Wave 9. Now in case you're wondering, why Chemo, why now? Well, you know, it's the Christmas season, so I thought I'd review characters like Chemo and good old Trigon here, just to be in the Christmas spirit, you know, because its characters are red and green. You know, it's just a really long and overdue figure to be reviewed. Now, Chemo is actually a rather large figure. Let's see if I have a... Yeah, I usually pause videos to do this, but he's around 10 inches tall, which, you know, is a pretty good size for a Collected Connect. Here he is next to Trigon again, just to give you an idea of scale. And let's bring in Superman here just to, again, give you a little idea there. Now, back when the wave first came out, you know, I wasn't enthusiastic about picking it up, although I now realize that Wave 9 is probably one of the nicest waves that the line has done to date. The one big drawback was just the fact that Chemo, you know, isn't a character a lot of people will be excited about. For instance, one of his biggest contributions to the DC Universe continuity was being dropped on a town, so, you know, plus he's a middleman villain, and unless you're a comic book fan, you probably won't know that much about the Metal Men, although granted they have popped up in cartoons every once and again. Now, a few people have complained that they have a separation issue with the waist to the lower torso here. I don't have it on mine. It fits fine. The bigger issue for me is just the fact that there's just no limb strength. Like, unless it's up to a point, it just flops down again. But if you get up to a certain degree, it will sort of lock into place, which is kind of cool. Now, I previously joked about this guy looking like he was probably composed of Mountain Dew, and, you know, probably is about as healthy as for you. Kind of stand by that. Now, the character is this green translucent plastic with a little bubble indents put in there. It actually looks really cheap around the shoulders because you can see the joints, which is a long-standing issue with transparent figures or translucent figures. In general, you know, originally I think the prototype that they had for him didn't have the bubble pattern. That would have been neat if they had released sort of a variant for him. You'll also notice he has an unpainted joint here, which kind of sucks, and he's got seams. And you can see the joints down here as well. So, yeah, this figure does have some issues. The cables can detach because the arms originally were packaged separately. For some reason, it detaches more readily from one than the other. I mean, once it's locked into place, it was basically permanently there. Chemo was the second 6-part Collected Connect, and in his case it's more bogus because the extra piece was just the groin piece. So it's like, meh. But I mean, given that he's a substantially large character, it does sort of make up for it a little bit. Paint-wise, you'll notice that he's got this cool little bronze effect with a nice metallic finish, with like darkening and stuff for, like, you know what it's called, but he has a finish, an antique finish. Yeah. I mean, it looks really neat, and the fact that it's not entirely in the lines is okay, because I view that as sort of being acceptable for, you know, just metallic things, so it could be like rust or something, which, you know, makes for a sort of unique appearance, in addition to the fact that, you know, you will get some variation between the figures depending on how the paint app was handled. In terms of articulation, he doesn't really have a ton. I mean, he's got the points, but they just don't do much. I mean, his wrists will rotate. The forearms also kind of rotate and then go forward a little bit. Shoulders are ball jointed. But I mean, when you're just doing stuff like this, I mean, it reaches like 2 feet in front of his body, so it's what's the point? I mean, you really can't do anything actiony with this, and then, you know, it can only really go up if it's centered right here, which sort of impedes things. And what's he even going to do with his hand like that anyway? I don't know. I thought he attacked with like energy projectiles or something. It would have been nice if they included something like that. Then of course you have the joint here at the waist, which is only rotation. Nothing else here, it's just a solid piece. Legs kick forward. There's no outward motion, which you can kind of see because there's no point for it. Again, you have this little cross-shaped thing just for the joint, which is kind of annoying. Single joint here at the knee. No rotation at boot. I always think that there is, and there never is. Then down here at the ankle you have the up, down, and some side pivot. Does not rotate, so, you know, from above the waist you have some amount of articulation, below it not so much. Face detailing wise, it's a really cool looking appearance. I mean, it's just a really wacky looking character, and I think that's probably what I enjoy most about him. In most other regards, I mean, it's not a character you will get excited about probably. And, you know, on the shelf he's possibly not the most dynamic of characters either. He doesn't really set himself apart, but at the same time I still kind of do like him. And you know, I really did enjoy the wave itself, which had some of the nicer characters. It had Green Arrow in it, Deadshot. You know, two of the characters that a lot of people view as just being the absolute best that the DC Universe Classics has had to offer. Of course, since then, you know, they have had some really great additions to the line. I mean, you know, just a really decent looking Collect and Connect, even if not necessarily one that people are going to so much care about. But yeah, this has been a look at Chemo, not pronounced chemo, even though, you know, kind of looks like it's spelled that way, etc., etc. So yeah, until next time, folks.